Hey, how's it going, guys? So after taking like a 20 to 30 minute break, we're back with the part two of CitizenCon Direct. Um, I really enjoyed the very first part of the video, like talking about the Nick system. I mean, the part where you can finally fight against the Vandal and also another hostile faction in that like Nick's asteroid space station really got me hyped up because FPS action is like what I'm really looking for. But it was really focused on a lot of mining and a lot of cargo moving and things like that, which is something I haven't really experienced because I am still new to Star Citizen. Now, where we left off is Jared Huckabee did say that now it sounds like we're moving off of the Nick system, and now we're going to be moving on to something more spaceship related. So I'm really curious to see what the next last hour and a half or hour and 20 minutes is all about, and see like if it's just really just spaceships the whole entire time, or we're going to be starting off with spaceships and then maybe we'll move on to a different subject. So with anything else, let's jump right into it.
Hi, my name's John Crew. I'm the vehicle director here at CIG, and welcome to Talking Ship, where we're going to talk about 3 new ships coming to the persistent universe.
3 new ships. Ooh. Talking ship. Talking ship. I see what they did there.
The last year has been pretty hectic in terms of vehicle deliveries. I think we've delivered the most we've ever done in a 12-month period, and we've covered all the way from tiny little snubs all the way up to capital ships.
We've kind of filled out a few little gaps.
Oh, hey, Ben, yeah.
Introduced some new ships by some old manufacturers.
We had the Polaris come out, and obviously people have enjoyed playing with that. We snuck the Idris in without none of you expecting it for a while, and it's been a busy year. It's nice to start revisit some of the older catalogue and some of the bigger ships again.
Damn, Mark,
I think
that's one hell of a beard.
Favourite ship from the last year is a tie between the Wolf and the Golem.
Favourite ship in the last year? Probably the Wolf.
I feel like it's the obvious one. I'm trying to think of something else, but I really like the Wolf.
Everyone's mentioning the Wolf. The Wolf's everyone's favourite.
The Wolf, obviously a return of Kruger, a completely new aesthetic to the game.
The Wolf was, it was kind of everything we set it out to be, and it revived an old manufacturer. We've not seen anything from a while, so yeah, I'm going to say the Wolf.
The Golem, I think, is just an incredibly well-formed ship in such a small package.
The Golem.
It really just shows off that Drake aesthetic, giving you the absolute bare minimum needed to perform a role.
I honestly do really like the Zeus. I think it came out really well. It's kind of hard to pin down
the Zeus,
favourite,
right.
We've released, a lot of really cool ships.
Next year, we've got some super exciting ships coming up. We're ticking off a few big ones, which is good. We're going to see, again, maybe some ships from some manufacturers that don't have that many in their lineup. There's a few big challenging ones starting, so they're good. A breadth of ships, should we say.
The 3 new ships we're going to introduce today all tie in some way to the primary factions fighting over the Nick system. We'll start with the People's Alliance and Anvil Aerospace.
Oh, okay.
Anvil is a very military-based brand. It's been a brand that's in Star Citizen for a long time, fighting for lots of military contracts and lore, often up against Aegis, and to the point it actually beat
an
Aegis
Anvil
in
ship.
the past. You will be familiar with a lot of their ships' designs, such as the Hornet and Lightning. Earlier this year, we introduced the Anvil Asgard, based on the Valkyrie chassis, which is an extremely popular offering. And this year, we're bringing the concept ship we introduced last year, the Anvil Paladin, to life. The Paladin is a gunship from Anvil Aerospace designed to support ground operations.
The gunship is a ship that's designed to stay in a sustained firefight while dealing a lot of damage, also taking damage.
We don't have a lot of gunships in the game. They're true dedicated gunships. They are quite a tricky archetype to control in game without being too powerful. It's designed with a lot of firepower and high armor and health, but very low maneuverability.
It's
So it's basically a tank.
It's just built purely for battle. It's got lots of armor, lots of guns, big guns.
It's got a very similar squat kind of form to the Valkyrie.
So basically, it's just like a floating fortress, basically, because he's a lot of armor, a lot of guns. So this thing has the firepower, this thing has the defense capabilities, but it doesn't sound like it has the speed or the maneuverability to, like dodge missiles or lasers. So it's just built to take hits, but it's not built to dodge.
It kind of reminds me of, I guess, like a pit bull obviously a very menacing silhouette.
It looks quite forward-weighted in its stance. It feels like it's coming towards you, even when it's just sat still. And I think
Looks
that's
like a
something
boulder.
that helps with it feeling intimidating.
If we swing round, following the ship round clockwise, what you'll then see is the first of the side turrets. If you notice the canopy, you'll see that there's a fairly thick space between where the glass is and the hull exterior. That's because it has deployable armour, which can come out and give you a little bit more cover while you're actually attacking the target head on.
It's got
Oh,
these really nice
nice.
kind of dual-connected wings with the turrets out on the sides, just to try and give us much.
I just want to state this. Every time I saw like a ship, just like, the cockpit and everything, I always thought like that is, the most vulnerable part of the ship. Because if you take a look at Star Wars, I know I'm using a lot of Star Wars references, but that's how big a fan of Star Wars I am. If you look at like Episode 6 against the Executor, the Super Star Destroyer, that thing is massive in size, and it probably holds a lot of firepower, a lot of personnel and everything. But just one ship that hit the bridge and that whole thing went down. So if you want the best chance of defense and success, you have to maximize the defense in that weak spot. So the fact that the Paladin has the capabilities of doing this
It's deployable armour, which can
and cover up the cockpit and give it more protection, like I said, this thing really is just built to take hits.
Kind of dual-connected wings with the turrets out on the sides, just to try and give as much kind of range for those turrets as we can get.
which is controlled by one of the two remote stations underneath the bridge. If we come around to the rear, you'll see a rail. Now that rail mounts the main turret of the ship, which is controlled by the co-pilot.
So you've got full 360 coverage underneath, full 360 coverage on top with it, and then the side turrets also have 360 coverage that way around and 180 out sideways. So really you have
no blind spots
between the turrets, pretty much 360 coverage in all directions.
Yeah, so no blind spot. Dude, that's amazing.
One of the unique things about the Paladin is all the turrets are remote and all the crew are located in this one central two-story room.
A lot of our other gunships, the crew gets scattered across the ship, but with the Paladin, you're all sat together with a nice, cool experience, so you can really feel like you're playing as a group.
You've got the pilot, co-pilot up top, and you've got the gunners underneath, and I think that helps with the intention of what the ship does, because you've got this really nice kind of like gunner viewpoint down, kind of giving this lower coverage.
We added a
kinda like a
glass
bombardier.
floor just to keep the two connected. I think that really helps with the feeling that you're all working together.
That logo
and
right there.
communicating.
That said, if you don't have the ability to fully crew a Paladin, you can still fly it and engage in combat solo.
Obviously not as good as if you have a full crew, but you can't always guarantee your friends are going to be online.
As a solo
Makes
ship,
sense.
it's pretty capable of doing a variety of missions within Star Citizen. So if you want to run this ship solo, you can take on combat missions that, say, other heavy fighters like the Scorpius or other ships such as the Drake Cutlass could do.
Okay.
Coming aboard the Paladin, you enter into this sort of armory ready room area. You have a variety of suit lockers and weapon racks in this room.
Everything's very militaristic, stripped back, simple. It's a very functional space, but you'll find everything you need in there.
One of the improvements from the original concept is we've added a small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store actual SCU crates. Forward of that is the route
Thumbs
to
up.
the lower gunners, and then upstairs you have the bridge area, and then off that central area you have the dual living quarters, one on the left, one on the right, and then at the rear you have the main sort of engineering area where the majority of the components are. Also within the upper traversal area you also have a little breakout area with seating, food machine, toilets, etc.
I don't know what it is, but from the outside of the ship, it doesn't really look that big. But now you're looking at the inside, the fact that it can hold this many accommodations and spaces is pretty insane. Well, I mean, for me personally, because just point of view wise, just from the outside, I'm like, doesn't really look like it's gonna hold much. But just with this like a little guided tour, never mind.
I think it's a very cool looking ship. I think we did a really nice job of taking what was there in the concept and adding an extra level of detail and trying to kind of push things forward.
I think it hits the nail in terms of a really solid military ship. It's really complementary to some of the other ships in the Anvil lineup, so something like the Valkyrie, where you've got this big drop ship. You know, the Paladin's there just to make sure it's safe, make sure no one messes with you, and just basically scare people away.
The thing I like most, I think, about the Paladin is that it's very clearly got a crew of 4, and they all kind of work and operate under the same conditions. You know, the pilot, co-pilot, and the 2 gunners, they're basically all equal on the ship. There's one toilet, everyone's got the same style of bunk. When they're at work, everyone's at the front of the ship together.
It's
So
really
no
odd to me
favors.
that you call that. You like that there's one toilet for 4 people.
Well, you know, it's you all work together. You're all equal at work.
Yeah,
You're,
equality.
Toilet seat never gets cold.
Toilet seat never gets cold. Yeah.
So that's the Anvil Paladin. Whilst originally a military-built craft, it's the perfect ship for folks on the frontier trying to defend against threats. And talking of threats, let's move to our next ship, a replica from Isperia.
Oh, Speria now.
Isperia are a high-end manufacturer. They specialize in recreating.
The Esperia design always stood out to me. The fact that it really does look like a hawk or an eagle, and like these parts right here that looks like feathers, makes it really unique in my eyes, and it's just one of my favorite designs on a ship for me personally.
Exotic and particularly alien spacecraft.
Effectively what they're doing is they're remanufacturing them, making them a little bit more suitable for kind of human flight. And the latest offering from Asperia is the Vandal Stinger.
Oh yeah, the Stinger mentioned earlier.
The Vandal are big, scary space aliens. They're like 7-foot tall, evil war race that sort of take over, steal technology, absorb it, fuse it all together into their own needs.
They are the relatively nasty aliens that you sometimes hear about and haven't seen much of yet. They also make really cool spaceships.
The Stinger as a Vandal heavy fighter was reserved for their higher tier sort of ace pilots or...
Oh yeah, so far I noticed this. We're more than halfway through CitizenCon Direct, and so far they haven't really like given any updates or said anything about Squadron 42 yet. So I'm really curious, like, is there gonna be like a release date on it soon, or like what the progress is? That's just my question.
high-ranking members within their clans.
Because it's been like a year since I saw the Squadron 42 gameplay video now.
Stinger is a competitor to something like the FA or I guess the Scorpius.
It packs a lot of firepower in quite a large frame, so it's a very, very tanky spacecraft. The firepower is almost unrivaled in terms of just both the number and the size of them. So it's there for players who don't want agility. They don't want to be in and out quickly. They want to be there brawling with big guns and taking all the hits. One thing Isperia have done differently with the Stinger is they have done away with the majority of the bespoke weapons.
They heard everyone's complaints about the glaive and blade and have stripped off the original Vandal weapons to allow customization for standard human weapons.
With the exception of the single-size 5 gun,
Because it was too well integrated into the hull, even for Speria to remove.
all the additional weapons are generic mounts, so they can be swapped with any of the existing lineup that we have in the game. By doing this, provides greater flexibility to the end user, and this is something Isperia wanted for the civilian market. For that one bespoke weapon, the size 5 plasma cannon, functionally it is the same as the existing size 5 plasma cannons on the Scythe and Glaive, but it is a sort of Gen 2 model and wraps it in a different aesthetic compared to those models. You'll see they're very much older Vandal styling. This is much newer Vandal styling, but underneath it is the same weapon that people have used for years.
So, for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, like a lot of people have laughed about this, but however, I just find it funny and they found it funny, so it was not insulting or anything like that. When I got into Star Citizen, I only have one ship right now. When I bought the starter pack, and it was an alien ship. It was the Gatak or Gatak Seulin. And so the fact that the very first ship I ever bought and used in Star Citizen was an alien ship. I haven't really flown a human ship yet, so I find that really interesting for me personally. But also on top of that, I wonder, can you buy Vandal ships right now? Because, well, I mean, I haven't looked on RSI Industries website yet and see like what kind of ships are available, like alien and all that. But if it is, I'm really curious. And what I really like is they're giving like the experience of like you can fly literally everything, almost everything that is shown in Star Citizen now, and you can also customize it to like more human human liking, like as it was shown there, replacing like certain guns with like human guns, Gatling guns, and plasma guns, cannons, and all that. So I really like that. But it just feels like showing like new Vandal ships is like a step closer and closer to Squadron 42. But there's just still no update given in this entire video about Squadron 42. So that just makes me wonder, are we getting closer to a release date, or is that just still somewhere out in the wind?
Our job as the vehicle art team on the PU was to take the Stinger from the Squadron team and prepare it for life in the PU. We took an opportunity to take, this really well-established art style and, add extra details where needed.
So the exterior is a real blend of these kind of hard surface, kind of rare alloyed kind of wings, and then underneath this real kind of organic structure that kind of webs all of the ship together. It connects the thrusters in.
Kind of like a ribcage.
Kind of underside of the vehicle and pulls the whole ship together.
You can tell it's very different from the Vandal ships that are currently in the PU. If you take, for example, the way the cockpits are constructed.
Up at the front, we've got this big kind of bubble dome that gives the cockpit quite a unique shape compared to some of our other ships, and also gives the pilot a unique position within the ship and kind of gives great visibility out the front.
Everything's so
Boarding
spiky.
the Stinger is a little unusual compared to other ships, obviously being alien in nature.
You're going through a ramp at the rear, and at least you kind of straight up into the belly of the ship.
There's, lots of organic detail, rib cages, kind of
like I said,
strange alien forms.
On entry of the cockpit, the seat kind of comes down towards you, and you kind of climb over the back of it a bit like a motorbike.
You're basically riding
Whoa.
into the cockpit. It feels very much like you're being carried
Roller coaster.
inside the cockpit.
Into the traditional prone flying pose that Vandal pilots use.
It's kind of like the ceiling. Like I always compare the ceiling that looks like a like a pyramid or a temple, and you just sit, but then you sit like this, and then all of a sudden it goes up. It's just really cool.
Very happy with the Stinger. I think the team done a really good job of making something that feels different. It feels alien, but it suits our lineup of ships and it suits our universe.
I think the guys did a really good job of respecting the direction and vision from the original Stinger and Vandal ships in Squadron.
We've tried to take a lot of inspiration from movies and other science fiction material, but I think it sits well within the Star Citizen universe.
So we have the Paladin for the People's Alliance. We have the Stinger for
That's
people
two.
that
So what's the
really
third?
like Vandal and want to try and pretend to be them. But what about the other mysterious faction we have running around?
So Gray Chowdhury got his start as he was working at a cargo center out in Odin. He started being able to get his hands on some stuff that other people couldn't, items that necessarily you couldn't find on a store shelf, but you wanted anyway.
I think Gray is interested in, happy customers. Gray just sees themselves as a conduit to get these things in the hands of people who would appreciate them.
And I think that his latest offering is really going to turn some heads.
So the Shiv, we don't really know what it is, to be fair.
It's what happens when someone who is a genius at aeronautics and ship assembly is given free rein to do whatever they want. It's the best of whatever they can find lying around, put together to make something truly unique, wonderful, arguably beautiful, and just released out into the universe to see what happens.
At first glance at the exterior of the Shiv, I think most people will probably recognize there is more than a fair proportion of the cutlass visible there, but it's had quite a few changes to it.
As you look a little bit closer, you'll start to pick out elements from other ships. You've got main thrusters that are from the Valkyrie.
Even the bits that are obviously a cutlass have had panels welded on, panels removed. The top turret, which is now remote, is just this hodgepodge amalgamation with multiple other ships' turrets. And then the changes continue onto the inside, where again, it sort of feels cutlass-like, but then you'll find there's bits of Crusader ships just integrated into the wall instead of what was there originally.
It has lost its side entrance, some of its cargo capacity, but what it's gained is it's gained visually more powerful thrusters. It's gained a really kind of nice set of belly thrusters. It's upped its firepower.
As ever, with the refined work from Gray's Market, you can see that great care was taken to the health and safety to ensure that there's no trip hazards anywhere.
Trip hazard. But what I find interesting is unique about this ship is it's like they just looked at like 10 different ships and just went, okay, let's take a little bit of this, let's take a little bit of this, and let's take a little bit of this. This is the final product.
There's like loose cables, panels are exposed. If you look carefully, you'll notice there are like tools laying around in the cockpit.
It's gained a toilet.
That's the toilet?
Bucket.
Yeah, I was about.
Yeah, it's one for doing stuff, and you need a second one to wash your hands. It's not an animal.
It has very much taken that ethos of Drake and moved it down a level, which I think is quite an achievement.
Just look at this thing. How do you even begin to describe the madness that created this? It's the Shiv.
This is something new and different for Star Citizen. Where did it come from?
I'm not going to answer that.
Just
What?
Just nothing. Just
No comment.
Gray goes to places and talks to people. I mean, you know, there are just many ways to find these things that, you know, I mean, are they legitimate, you know, manufacturers? No. Are they operating on the right side of the law? Maybe not, but, you know, money's money.
Does Gray have a motto, an ethos to live by?
It probably comes down to, don't ask where I got it.
Don't ask how we got it.
Don't worry about it. Just ask if you want it.
I think the Shiv is for someone that is looking for something a bit different, a bit away from the norm, that just wants something that's unique.
It's definitely for people who like a rustic aesthetic.
It's a fun ship, but it's also really strong.
I mean, look at the design of it and everything. It just looks like you found spare parts at a junkyard and just like put it all together. It doesn't look, you know, like put together and sleek like a L-21 Kruger Wolf or maybe a Polaris, because it looks like, you know, things are like popping out like pipes and things like that. It looks like it was just a crude job, but I mean that's a unique way of just like showing like a unique design of another ship as well, because every ship needs to look unique. But that's what I really like about it. But it just looks like someone just like scrapped something together.
To be honest, and it's absolutely a statement.
Still looks cool though.
I'm happy with the 3 ship offerings. They are obviously very combat heavy
There's something we wouldn't normally release all at
offerings.
Okay, now here's my question to you guys, and please put it down in the comments. Out of if you had a choice to get one of these for free, which ship would you get? Please let me know in the comments below. But for me personally, I would actually go with the Paladin. Now here's why. 1, I already have an alien ship. 2, the firepower and the amount of defense capabilities it's got. That's why. And the look of it. So for me, Anvil Paladin.
They are obviously very combat heavy.
There's something we wouldn't normally release all at once, but honestly, all of them are a different statement and they're all cool.
As always, super excited to release these ships into the game and just see how players react and play with them. It's always fun to see the quirks and the shenanigans that people get up to with them. So that's talking ship for another year. So.
You gotta do the thing with Lexi. Talking weapons.
So I've just been informed that we have to do a bit of a timeshare agreement this year, so we have to throw it over to Alexi for Talking Weapons, which is an extremely original name.
Okay, so we're done with the ships, which covered about like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So now we're going into weapons. I'm all for it.
I'm talking about the new edition that came out in October. The non-weapons are essentially the weapons that does not have a manufacturer, the weapons that you can think of that were made by space pirates.
Gray sells whatever he can sell.
Sometimes he gets his hands on some weapons that come from unknown origins.
He will sell things that no company in their right mind would ever make.
These are the most kind of like scrappy and taped together and the most kind of like pyro-ish weapons that you can think of.
Just like the
Right
ship
now
we saw.
We're releasing 3 new weapons: rocket launcher, the LMG, and the long-awaited space AK.
I think this is the one that not only is the most in demand, but I've been politely badgered about the most. It's a fun rifle that basically fires energy and ballistic in sequence. So your first shot will be your ballistic.
Oh,
your
yeah, I
second
see
shot
it.
will be the energy. You'll see on the top.
Yeah, I mean, I just realized these are 2 barrels, so it looks like the ballistic comes out here and the energy comes out here. So that's actually really cool.
The art, there is a bolt that cycles the rounds, and that goes off with the ballistic
Yeah, there you
shot,
go.
but it does not go off with the energy shot. And that is just like a really fun way of making a weapon work in kind of like a scrappy, glued together kind of aesthetic.
So it's like that question. Do you prefer energy weapons or do you prefer ballistic weapons? You don't have an answer? Just show them this rifle. Oh, the LMG.
This thing is a really fun, slow-firing, hard-hitting beast.
It will bring the 50 cal, and the only other weapons that have this right now in the verse are the Bearing sniper rifle and the Coda.
Honestly, if you even get hit by one, you just instant tier 1 injury, back to medical.
Okay, slower. So slower rate of fire, but harder hitting. I don't know why this popped up in my mind. So I played Far Cry 6, and if you guys haven't played already, I highly recommend doing it. So Far Cry 6 has like those options where if you gather enough parts and gather enough materials, you can make like these custom-made weapons that look like they were just like just put together, like, you know, a saw launcher and things like that. It's kind of giving me like that kind of like correlation, because over there you can see like the crude building and like, you know, the handles, the pipes and everything, and that looks exactly the same with like these weapons too.
Are you even trying anymore?
You know what? We made all these really complicated, fancy guns, and some people just want, I want a slow-firing rifle. Give me a scrap-together box that fires the biggest thing you can possibly find.
We don't have a rocket launcher of this caliber. It will be 3 grenades straight together that you pull into the tube and fire towards your enemies. The cool part about it will have an arming distance, so you will not be able to just point it towards an enemy.
It's also going to have a lot of spread. So essentially,
Oh.
you're going to have to get very close with your launcher to be able to blow up ships with a single payload in it. You can't actually aim with the apparatus, because if you've got the tube on your shoulder and you try to aim it, you'd have to physically put the tube in your head. So we were like, oh, we can't have an aim apparatus for this. And then we realized, like, it's in the spirit of being a tube that you can't use the aiming apparatus, and you just kind of like, all right, I think that's the middle of the screen, I'm gonna hit it.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
Are we gonna talk
What is
about
that?
binoculars? Binoculars are really cool.
Oh,
We
binoculars.
don't have anything like this in the verse.
Bearing.
And I think it will be really convenient to use something that's dedicated to look for the things, especially far away, instead of using your sniper scope, for example.
Will the binoculars have glint?
I'm not aware of this one. Probably not, because binoculars are not something that you need to be aware of.
It's really funny because obviously, due to glint gate, as you know, I beautifully internally call it, basically there was a lot of community feedback basically saying like, oh, I really like spotting people. I really like playing a spotter. And essentially I was like, oh, this community wants to be able to spot people from distances, and what can we make gadget-wise that doesn't require new features? And it was like, binoculars. And I prototyped a thing which essentially was just a scope in a hand, and it worked. So we've got some really cool binoculars coming that allow you to spot people from distances.
Okay.
And how much damage do the binoculars do?
Depends on how you throw them.
Good answer. Okay, so
Thanks,
these are the
Alexi
new
and Zach.
weapons.
That's the end of this segment for this year. So that's talking ship and weapons, unless anyone else is going to come and tell me something else. It's been an exciting year, and I think the next year of ships is going to be even more exciting and expansive than this year.
So out of all those weapons shown, which one would you guys take? The space AK-47, the hard-hitting LMG, or the 3-grenade rocket launcher? For me personally, oh, this one's kind of tough. I'm somewhere between the LMG and the AK-47. But if I had to choose one, I would actually go with the AK-47 one because it's more unique, and I do have an LMG already. And on top of that, I do want an assault rifle because right now in my Star Citizen, I do have an LMG and I do have a rifle, but that rifle is a little slow shooting. So that's why. And the AK-47, the fact that it can shoot ballistics and energy at the same time, pretty cool.
Well. That is an eclectic bunch of combat ships for the verse, and they're all available right now up on the robertsspaceindustries.com store. Also,
they're
any
available
minute
now.
There's going to be a PTU drop that includes all 3, so you can fly them now ahead of their release next week when Alpha 432 goes live. 3 combat ships. I wonder if they'll have any additional uses coming up later in the show. That's a hint. All right, what else can I shill? Oh, there's merch. We've got these cool new Levski desk mat things. These are always popular. There's some Levski metal posters on the store, and of course, love them or hate them, but you can't avoid them. There's this cool new Wickelow's Emporium t-shirt. Yeah. There's also a page published earlier today with a bunch of links to offerings from our third-party partners, from eye trackers to gaming chairs to voice packs to spaceship models from new partners like Planet Ring and Pigeon Spaceport and more. You can find all of that on the RSI website as well. And what else can I show? Oh, for those of you who are at watch parties, where is it? Challenge coins. Who doesn't love challenge coins? There's these lovely Levski-themed challenge coins if you're attending one of the 9 official watch parties around the world. There's also a digital one of these in the goodies pack, so you check those out. Don't leave today without getting your Levski challenge coin. All right, what else can I shill? Now I'm kind of tired of shilling. All right,
Shilling.
Let's find out some more about where we are. Simon, can we move? Can we do? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Pardon me. Excuse me. Hi, how you doing? That was my best angle. Hey, I gotta be careful. Last year I took 3 steps and tore a muscle. All right, so this is the 9th floor of CIG Manchester's Manchester office. That's you. This is the room where we have lunch every day, and if you get here early enough,
that's really cool.
Croissants, if the weapons team hasn't stolen all of them. Over here, we got some cool mannequins representing different aspects of the game. You got the ever-present, Hurston security armor over here. That's really cool. You got your Dusters armor right here. You got this guy from a game that we're not talking about today.
Mark Hamill.
Marine armor. Yeah,
Wait.
It's all pretty cool. From a game that we're not talking about today.
Well, I guess that confirms it. No Squadron 42 update in this video.
Marine armor, yeah, it's all pretty cool. And then,
so if I was in a Marine in that universe, I'd be wearing that.
When you come over here, got a nice little recreation area. There's some sim pits over there for people who need to test that kind of stuff. We got this cool Krigeri Bengal carrier. Come over here, shoot it. Go down the nose here. Watch this. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go over here. Can you see me? Hi, Mom. All right, so yeah, and what are you doing, Richard Towler? All right, I thought John went to Washington, D.C. Let's see, what else we got? We got cool Voyager bar here. This is where we get all kinds of breakfast goodies, coffee, stuff like that. Hey, who remembers the big coffee controversy of 2016, where everybody took to Reddit and pondered the question, do devs deserve coffee? I do. You want to see what next year's big controversy is? Check
2016.
This out. Come over here.
I was finishing up high school.
Devs deserve coffee. Welcome to the Stargarita machine. Yeah. Do devs deserve frozen deliciousness? I don't know. Go to Reddit and let us know. All right, let's see. Let's go over here.
Competition winners.
Competition winners. We have the list of competition winners. Can we put that on the screen? Yeah, sorry, competition winners. Remember the competition for the CitizenCon winners? The people made the videos.
Oh, yeah.
And we gave them a Kruger L21 Wolf. We actually have the names. They're behind me. Look. Oh. All right, that's cool. Also, everybody's got food. Do I have food here? Oh, somebody's supposed to save me pizza. All right, so we got, oh, you guys saved me a lot of pizza. Let's see, there's like 3 different kinds of pizza here.
I mean, those pizzas look unique, but I mean, this is a really cool workplace to have. I mean, I thought Google was looked like a fun place to work, but this looks amazing.
What if we just combine them into like a challenger situation here? That's a CitizenCon throwback if you're not familiar with it. So I have now crafted my own pizza experience. And that is a terrible segue into our next segment. Gemma, Gemma, are you there?
Yes, Jared.
Can we fire up the FPS crafting segment while I try to chew this off camera?
We sure can. Roll, BT.
Oh, FPS now. A crafted experience.
Star Citizen, at its heart, will always be an enormous sandbox experience where you can set out to tackle the universe in whatever ways you want. But that doesn't mean we can't shape parts of the universe here and there to better suit our needs. That goes for both you and us. Let's start this part of the show with a look at how crafting is going to change everything from resource gathering, refining, and even combat when it comes online in the next few months.
Okay, so this is a feature coming
First
soon.
version of crafting is going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials that have different quality, and using those to craft items which are better than what they have currently in the game.
The first version is going to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor.
Dude, look at that armor.
For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have ships, we have gear, we have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve. And those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and weapons, that's how you progress in Star Citizen. Crafting isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game. The materials that you collect, how you refine them, quality matters.
Crafting the weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have a higher chance of higher quality. And once you take those materials to your crafting bench, the fabricator, you can use them to craft, and the different attributes will be increased based on the quality of the materials you use.
What's that, a
It's
railgun?
not just iron ore anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can
that's my
understand what
armor.
you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials,
Oh, I held
which you
to
can then
sneeze.
take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items. Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft, and it'll get queued up, and your result will be produced sometime later.
Nice.
You'll be
Empress
able to
Depot.
get the new crafting machine from shops in most landing zones. You'll be able to bring it up on your freight elevator and use it in your personal hangar, or tractor beam it around and stick it on a ship if you want to use it from there.
So in a way, it feels like a big mobile 3D printer.
There'll be a small amount of blueprints you get credited to your account just to test and mess around, but the vast majority of them will be earned through missions, and then you can use that blueprint to craft the item that it is that you've got the blueprint for. So
Got it.
Should be a good reason to go and test all the different various missions in the game.
The advantage of crafting your own items is that they'll be better than anything that you could buy from shops.
It's a complete contract.
You'll be able to increase and improve item stats that are relevant to your gameplay. Maybe a gun will shoot faster, maybe it'll do some more damage, or your armor will have greater resistances against environmental effects or incoming fire. You might be wondering, what about the upgrade and research? That will be coming in a subsequent release. We're happy with this initial scope for crafting.
It's going to be so valuable for us as devs to kind of get the metrics in, get the feedback in, because then we can make the changes that, you know, they only become obvious, so to speak, when you have kind of mass amounts of data and mass amounts of users using it. So I'm very excited to get it out in the wild.
It's our intention to get crafting out on tech preview by the end of the year and get the testing we need so we can release it when it's ready.
Okay. 2026 is going to be crazy.
So that's one way you'll be crafting your own experiences in the Star Citizen universe. But what about us? Where do we get to hone in and craft a bespoke experience here and there, specifically tailored to individual or small group play? Well, that's where instancing comes in. And I'm going to let Benji tell you a little bit more.
We're bringing instancing to Star Citizen
Instancing?
in 2026. Why are we doing it, and how will it work? So if you've played any content in 2025 in Star Citizen, you know that most of these areas were in actual PvP zones where other players could interfere. Instancing is a means to create an environment where designers can create tailored content
It's the
that's
CTO.
tuned to a specific group size, but it is also protected from outside interference. It's not to say that we don't love PvP. I'm a PvP guy. PvP me, bro.
But you don't want
most
interference.
MMOs, a good balance between a dangerous overworld and a protected instances is needed.
Oh, it's Onyx.
Right now, we don't have this ability, and this is something we really need in order to give you a sense of progression that is tailored and balanced to a tunable amount of groups, so the difficulty matches the group size. There's a beginning and an end. It doesn't mean that that doesn't fit in our overworld strategy, meaning getting to the instance is dangerous, exiting the instance is dangerous, or can be interfered with others. But at least when you're playing the content, we can actually make something that's curated for one experience. So before anybody says this is only a PvE thing, this technology can also be applied to unlock curated PvP experiences that are as seamless as the PvE ones. So it's not about one thing or the other. It's really about unlocking developers' ability to create curated content. So that said, how will it work? Instancing is really an evolution over static to dynamic meshing. We want your instances to be as seamless as your instance hangars, meaning that when you take an elevator, you exit the elevator, you're inside the instance. A gateway opens, you cross that gateway, you're now into your instances. Could be also a quantum jump into an instance that you don't even see. The transition is just like a dynamic mesh transition. And so throughout the universe, we will be able to add these areas that are open or closed instances that allow you to join in either with a party and have a reserved instance for your party, or join in open instances that has a number of slots. And so some of those areas will be completely instanced on different servers. This allows us to leverage the compute power of the entire mesh. The closed ones will be really to drive one piece of content. You enter and exit seamlessly, just like we do with your instance hangars currently. Let's go and find out what one of our first instances will be.
Instances.
Siege of Arisen was an event we did previously, which created a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress through contested islands of Arisen. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled a little bit from its technical execution. But now with the introduction of instancing, it gives us an opportunity to evolve it and modify it and make it better for you in a small group to work through that activity.
I do remember seeing this location on like several different videos before, but I just never been there. So what I really like about so far CitizenCon Direct is they're not trying to like just build something new. They're also trying to improve what was already built. And from what I just saw, there's a lot of FPS. I'm all for it. I don't know why I said FSP.
It is an event that I had the honor of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Nine Tails have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
And you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control.
We gotta do
So in our
this.
current thinking, Siege of Arison is designed for about a 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic whose sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of your team and the health of them. And some of you will be the people who push for the objectives to try and get sort of most of the mission done. The event was designed for about 15 to 30 people, but when we released it, we fixed the problem with 2 DGSs on one server that was fighting for resources. And with that, we also upped the player count to 100. So when it first debuted, it was already too full for what it was designed for.
For me, when we did the Onyx facility, I was just the guy that was supporting and just shooting everyone I could find. But if you guys watched that video, we did have like 2 guys who were acted as the medic. We had one guy who already did the Onyx facility, so he was the guy who did the objectives. And we had another guy who was just like picking up all the loot and just like scavenging and searching everything. So I say if I play with the same guys for this, we're pretty much set.
It was a massive operation at the time. I think that bringing it back and giving it a refresher will be a fantastic addition back into the PU.
So imagine if Siege was a instance that you could go in and play solo, or if it was a public event that you could go with your friends, or you could join up with random players on the server. There's lots of ways that we want to take a look at Siege, how we can make it a more approachable piece of content.
I'm excited to say the least to bring back Siege of Orison to Star Citizen and to sort of have it be one of the first tests that we have for instancing and really get it back to sort of a core experience point where it should be. So while the next season is quite heavily focused on Nyx, I'm also very happy that we're not really ignoring our other 2 systems of Standard and Pyro, and we're going back there and we're sort of improving and expanding on the player's life in those 2 systems as well.
Nice.
Yes, and while things like Genesis, interstellar hauling, crafting, Siege of Orison, and more will reveal next year, we'll continue to bring life into the existing universe outside of Nyx. There's still one more exciting use for instancing we're building right now. It's an earlier look than normal, and some of it is still in white box, but we're excited to share the first look at a major content release of 2026, and what it means for progression-based gameplay. As an evolution of our Building Interior initiative, you won't discover it by accident, because when it's complete, it will be found deep within the heart of Levski itself. This is the Municipal Works.
The what?
So inside the facility, you'll find huge vaporization chambers, old processing plants, industrial tunnels, and eventually into the old turbines which are still pumping heat into the old rock.
So this is the true history of Levski. This is a place where you won't see in Lorville, you won't see in I-18 or the other landing zone. It's the pure basis of Levski. You will have, of course, metal and tunnels and more structural plays, but you will also see a lot of rock and cave. So it's not a place you go to take vacation. It's really a place you go to fix stuff.
Not everybody has what it takes to come down there and do the job that needs to be done.
All of your sewage systems have stopped working. Everything's going to quite literally. And so the player is tasked with their group, most likely, to go into there, take out the outlaws, and get the facility working again.
Oh, so
let me
you
get
have
this
to
straight.
take
This
out
is literally
hostels.
a mission to fix the toilets of Levski.
It's not just the toilets. You're also trying to turn on the air. Air is a bit more important. It still works in Levski, but they have like maybe polluted air because it's not being cleared properly. It's not just for the toilet.
Poop mission.
Yeah, I was about to
It's
say
also a little
sewage,
bit more exciting than just
sewage
going
maintenance.
into like some vents. It's like a 3-layered system where there's 3 chapters.
This will be mission-driven and repeatable. Everything from mining to salvage to combat to investigation, a variety of roles. Narratively, it's a real sandbox.
So
Every
shooting and
progression
plumbing.
you do will unlock a new area that will link back to previous areas, complexifying the play space.
We've been wanting to have more gameplay around landing zones for a long time. Now that we have instancing tech coming online, that allows us to do something that provides really cool gameplay close to a landing zone.
With the missions, that's what will create different overlays or change the spaces or change the progression, but it'll be the instancing which will enable us to create tailored content to you and your group. So you're going to be able to play a part of it, make your progress, and then log off. And then the next time you come online, you'll be able to pick up where you left off.
It's going to allow players to return back to it at different states depending on how much you've progressed and be able to keep it going until you've reached sort of the end of the whole 3 chapters.
Where you're not going to have
Damn,
other
3
people getting in
chapters.
your way. It's you, your team, your party.
It's a way of giving players content where they know exactly where they're at and they can keep going back to it and improving sort of their own progress and ability to jump through them faster and faster times as well.
So that's a look at how we'll be allowing players and developers alike to create more crafted experiences within the greater sandbox of the persistent universe. Okay, is that it for me at this point, Jared?
Almost. Throw it back to me, and I've got one more for you after this.
Back to you, Jared.
They're not listening to you, bro.
Everybody's really excited about the year ahead. So that's a brief look at some of the ways in which we're allowing you and our developers to craft a more curated Star Citizen experience. Now, at this point in the show, we are in the home stretch. We've got only one more segment to go. But before we do that,
Yeah, we're starting to get there.
We wanted to check out. We said earlier in the show that we would look at what you were saying during the show. We looked at how to put YouTube comments on the stream, and it was immediately apparent that we were going to lose our broadcast license, so we're not going to do that. We did find some social media stuff on Twitch, though, or not Twitter, X. What is it called now? Let's see what this says. Let's see. We've got Welcome Back Levski from. I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh no. Oh, time to suit up. Let's go get him, says Ubu. I really should have worn my glasses. Cue the bagpipes. That's the other game, Charlie.
He's
Oscar.
reading down here first.
Let's see. Nice to see you live, Jared. Mom? Let's see. First CitizenCon after playing for almost a decade in Austin. Oh, nice. Straight out of Klesher, back to the Hex. Photos from Leicestershire. How do you say it? Is that Leicestershire? Leicester? Leicester? I probably... Geez, I've only been in the UK for 3.5 years. At San Jose Bar Citizen Watch Party. Oh, somebody created a lovely Vandal mask there.
Oh yeah, top right. I'm probably blocking it.
Sean Tracy, can we get that in game? Just that, exactly. Just scan that, put that in game. All right, so that's a few reactions we're seeing on social media right now. Before we get to our big finale, or the thing we're going to wrap up the show with today, I did want to talk a little bit about big CitizenCon versus digital CitizenCon versus what we're doing today, which is CitizenCon Direct. Every year, CitizenCon is a monumental task for any number of people, whether that's development, marketing, the support teams, the platform teams. Everybody comes together to make this thing happen and go off, hopefully without a hitch. And so far, we've been doing all right, other than some stuff in the room here. You know who you are. They had to know. But doing CitizenCon is not always the easiest thing for our developers. You might not assume this, but most game developers are not social butterflies. They tend to like to sit quietly in the dark at their computers, like little goblins, and just make digital virtual worlds like this. And then I come in all happy and like, hey, you want to be on video? And they're like, no.
Yeah, they're very introverted.
And I'm like, it's in your contract. And they're like, oh yeah. So we thought, we usually do it behind the scenes afterwards, but we thought we'd do a little bit of it here. The folks in the editorial department put together a brief montage of some of the more candid moments from the filming of CitizenCon over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to spend 2 minutes and take a look at that. Let's see what they put together.
How many CitizenCons have you performed in now?
Performed? Just the one. Nope, my first one.
One last year.
2.
A few.
8 or 9? Maybe 9 or 10?
Damn.
Man, I don't know, man.
Did you like doing it?
Yes, I was completely terrified.
It was good. Bit stressful.
The first live one, I was a mess.
Weird combination of going from insane highs to insane lows.
Live ones.
Because?
It's over.
The live ones are pretty special.
Pre-samp's always fun, but the live events are special, aren't they?
Remember we were at that weird crack house in Echoes?
What?
Right.
I like the live ones. Oh, I mean, I love these digital ones. These are the best.
Every time I've done it, it has been a digital one, and I'd like to do one on stage.
Is it because you have a restraining order against you, or?
Didn't know if I was going to be sick, if I was going to lose my stomach.
How hard is it to keep your eyes open on stage?
That's another problem with the lights. They're kind of, I'm realizing through this sentence that I'm closing my eyes as I speak. Do I do that a lot?
I am a very shy individual, so this is me just trying to get out of my shell.
Getting the crowd to react to the ideas that we've been working on for so long.
We can react. Watch. Everybody. Yay!
Yay! I can feel your passion from here.
Cut the camera. Counting you down in like 30 seconds. I'm like, do I stand up? Do I sit down? Do I drink? Do I not? Do I talk?
This will be the best one yet.
Man, I really understand these guys a lot because when I first started off this channel, for those of you guys don't know, it was never a reaction or a commentary channel. It was going to be a no commentary, no reaction, just gameplay videos. Just like, me playing video games, well, you'll never hear from me, you'll never see my face. But as time went on, I decided, and then like after maybe like 3 videos, literally just 3 videos, gameplay videos, I decided, but I need to do something that's going to make my channel more unique and stand out. So I decided to like break out of my shell a little bit more and kind of like, public speaking and provide more commentary and show my face on camera. I was really terrified at first because I started like trying to figure out like what's a really good intro, what's a really good outro, because now my intro is like, hey, what's up guys? So we're back with another video like that. You guys should have seen me the first time I ever did an intro. It took like 12 tries. I was going like, hey, what's up guys? That's literally how I was. And for the outro, I was like, trying to like think of a really cool way to like just end it, but I really just didn't know what to say, because now I'm able to say like, all right, that's all I got for today, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. But at that time, I was like, so besides that, this was really great, and just besides that, I hope you guys really enjoyed it. That's literally how it was the first time. So I really do understand these guys a bit, like just speaking out in public, but it just takes time and a lot of practice. I mean, you will make mistakes here and there, and but I mean, that's the whole process of learning and improving. And I mean, sure, it feels a bit uncomfortable and really awkward and really embarrassing, because I really felt that too. But hey, you don't get better if you don't challenge yourself and push your limits.
That's right. Because it's nice and short.
Is this all supposed to be usable content? Because I could be different.
Of all your nicknames, why is Moist Master your favorite?
I think you mean least favorite, and because it has the word moist in it. I mean, come on.
We'll give you a new nickname by the end of this.
Sounds good. Could do with one.
Let's get started.
A little comedic feature.
So for those of you watching at home or at the watch parties, you're like, why are we showing that? I put that in there because I'm eternally grateful for all of the CIG staff and developers who take the time to appear on these things, whether it's ISC, SCL, CitizenCon, walk on stage, be pre-recorded. It's not the easiest thing for everybody. And on behalf of the community, if I can speak for them in this regard, I want to say thank you for participating in these things each and every year that we have them. Now, let's wrap things up here. So, let's see, how do I want to do this? At this point, we've only got one major story left to tell. But before we do that, we wanted to do one more check-in on something we started last year. Last year, Rich Tyler took the stage and presented his roadmap to 1.0. And we didn't want to go an entire year without talking to the senior game director himself to get his update on that 1 year later. So we're going to throw it to him, and we're going to go to our last segment, and when we come back, we'll say our goodbyes. And if you're at a watch party, it's time to get... I was going to say, that's not a word I can say on the camera. Let's just go. Let's just throw it back to me. Go to me from 1 week ago.
Road to 1.0. Revisited.
Last year, Senior Game Director Rich Tyler took to the stage and revealed our plan for 1.0. Now, before we end this year's CitizenCon Direct, we wanted to take a few moments and follow up on that reveal from last year, to do as we've done today and look at the year ahead. So, Rich, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. Everybody knows the only constant in game development is change. So I'm going to ask you outright, what's changed about the road to 1.0?
Well, fortunately, nothing. It still remains our North Star. The team is busy working towards that goal in the background, and every patch this year has moved us towards that goal. And if you haven't watched the Star Citizen 1.0 presentation from last year, I highly recommend you do so, because everything in it is still relevant as of today.
You mentioned every patch this year has moved us towards that goal, so I want to dig deeper into that. We've done, at this point, 9 releases in this year, more than any year prior. How does each one of these not just sit as their own moment in time, but move us forward on this road to 1.0?
Well, last year I discussed the framework of 1.0, how all those complex systems can tie together. And one of the core aspects of that was the main story, which became the spine of the universe, which brought all of the locations, mission givers, guilds, and all the different areas of the game to the players. Now, what I didn't talk about from last year was all of the content that was going to support that framework, add the flesh to the bones, should we say. And I think that's where this year has moved us towards that goal. If you think about previous events of previous years, they've generally been locations that we've put into the verse, but they've been transient. We've taken them away, like Siege of Orison or Zenithreat. We've added them to game, and then they've been moved away. And I think with the addition of the patches this year, when you look at the Hathor facilities, Onyx facility, these are permanent additions to the world that not only have their own story, as when we release them with the patches, but they'll also become points of interest and areas that the larger 1.0 narrative will utilize.
Like
Since
an
we're
expansion.
On story, I'm going to stay with this here. Since we launched the PU back in 2015, it's always been this sandbox where players can do what they want. They can bring their own story to the verse, and that'll never change. But how important is it that we also build this concurrent narrative of our own, this crafted experience, if you will, alongside that?
Well, we're trying to create a living, breathing universe. And that includes both the player stories that you mentioned, that they can go and enjoy and create their own memories together. But it also means that we want to have a universe that gives back. We want areas and locations to feel like they're believable and real life locations. And if you look throughout this year and the patches that we've worked towards, we've had an overarching story that's moved from patch to patch, and we're going through some of those cycles right now. We've also been introducing mission content that has fully voiced dialogue and facial animation, which allows us to inject some of the meaning and the why.
So, guys, I haven't been on Star Citizen for about a month now. Mostly because of my work schedule, because we've been having a lot more field ops, and I've been out there. And when we come back, I'm just like so tired. I just don't want to do anything, and sleep and recover. So, I'm still like, so when I get back on, because I've been trying to like download the game back onto an SSD, and I've been having problems with that. So that's what caused a huge delay in me getting back into Star Citizen. But I am trying to get back on there, so there will be some things I miss or some things I do need to catch up on. So if you guys have anything you guys want to share of like what happened from the middle of September till now, like any additional content or anything besides Site B opening up on Onyx facility, please put it down in the comments below. I really would like to hear them.
Animation, which allows us to inject some of the meaning and the why to what you are doing as a player. And I think story is integral to Star Citizen as a connective tissue that ties all of these different complex systems together, because it takes players on that journey throughout the game.
To see this big turn this year to start injecting story into the verse, I think people are really responding to it. So everybody knows, and you mentioned just now, that this year we changed a whole lot about how we operate and how we release things. How do you think that's gone?
I think it's gone very well. I think if the mantra that I've always been pushing this year right at the beginning of January was patch always goes. And I think this year has seen a different development strategy for how we've been moving the game forward. That's where this different strategy has allowed us to really take a wider approach. And we also have to remember that Star Citizen is played by tens of thousands of players every day. And while we have lofty future goals, we still have to make decisions right now that make the game fun for the people that are playing it all the time, playing it as their daily game. If you look at previous years, we've had to hold a patch back, we've had to make concessions, mainly due to around a feature may not been ready or right to go into there.
There were 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 5 months between patches.
Exactly, and I don't think that's good for anybody. I don't think it's good for the players. I don't think it's good for the development team. I think it's better to have regular cadence of drops. One good example is this year for A Line of Mine. People probably don't know, but A Line of Mine, when you turned on the laser, it was actually supposed to reveal the sandworm Valakar.
I'm not familiar with that.
And it didn't hit the quality that I wanted to go into the game. So we changed, and I took it out, and I made that decision alongside Chris and Erin. And we've held that back, and we're going to work on that towards a future patch. But I think definitely the more regular cadences has had the multiple benefits. And like I said, I want to dispel a myth right here, right now. Like, features are still being worked on quite heavily in the background, from radar and scanning in FPS, the new quantum, to inventory, engineering and crafting. And all of those features are going to be coming very, very soon for players to get their hands on. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and say that if I was to go back to the start of the year, I would hope that we would have released more features. But I also think every decision we've made this year has been through the lens of making the live experience as stable and as good as possible.
Absolutely. All right, so that's a bit about the year before. And the year before has been, I've said this before, I've said it internally, I've said it out there, I'm gonna say it right now again on camera. I think this has been the best year of Star Citizen ever, and I'm willing to look right into the camera and say that. The player numbers are up, engagement numbers are up, the length of the play sessions are up, bug numbers are down, 30K is gone. It's been a solid year. But CitizenCon isn't CitizenCon without talking about the future, so I want to move us to the future. We've talked about story, we've talked about this more diegetic, immersive universe and adding voice lines and stuff like this. But where do we go from here? Obviously that continues, but what more are we going to do to make this universe seem alive and real and breathing?
I think the biggest thing is to start having that conversation be two-way. So if you think about this year, like you mentioned, we've been having fully voiced NPCs, but a lot of those missions and those NPCs, they're talking to you, they're talking at you. Right. You don't get to talk back to them. Now, obviously, you get to interact with them through your actions. You get to go and do their mission, and you get to move that along, and then they talk to you again. But it's a one-way conversation.
We're missing that conversation wheel.
Exactly. The next part would be physical mission givers. That's something that we're going to be working towards very soon, with Battaglia being the first one coming back in the verse. And just to be clear, we will be bringing all the mission givers eventually back, and we want them to be an integral part of the verse and the story that players go and enjoy. We want the locations to be brought to life, and as we mentioned last year, we want to have interactive scenes that you can go and be part of. And obviously the full end goal is towards, you know, to have cinematic stories in the game, and that is what we're going to be pushing towards. Everything we do, every decision we make is through the lens of moving us closer to 1.0. It might sometimes be difficult to see why those decisions have been made at the time they've been made, but rest assured that Star Citizen 1.0 is still our North Star. That's what we're still aiming towards, and that's what we're going to be moving forward with every patch next year as well.
And remembering when mission givers were first introduced, they sometimes became a bottleneck. Is there a role in instancing, which we learned about earlier today? Is there a role for instancing in that, in helping with mission givers?
Yes, partially. It will be one mechanism that will allow us to have players go to their own individual area of the verse, have that conversation, and then go and continue on into the open world environment. So I think that's where, when we look at instancing provides us one tool that allows us to remove that bottleneck and provide a more seamless experience.
Happy you said that, because that's one of our last topics I want to get to, is how we reconcile instancing with the persistent universe. Like, for the last 10 years now, we've been building this giant, seamless, persistent universe where everybody can come in and play together. And it would be easy to have a first instinct reaction to the idea of instancing and say that's antithetical to everything that Star Citizen. But you mentioned last year these 3 pillars of building Star Citizen in the PU, and I want to know, you said nothing changed, but I want to ask you about this specifically. What are those 3 pillars again, and how does instancing fit within the greater design of Star Citizen?
So the 3 pillars I mentioned last year were open world. That's just like the missions you love today. You can go and play, there's other players there, and you can go and enjoy that together. Then we have instancing, which I'll talk about more, but similar to municipal works that we've talked about previously. And then the third pillar was dynamic content, which would be content that's generated by the activities of the players. And I think it's very easy to become myopic around one specific thing when we're talking about it a lot, when it's the next stage of our development. And I think you could reverse it. If we'd have made a game that was all instance, and then I'd come on camera and said, hey guys, we're going to start doing it open world, it would be like, oh, is the game changing? Are we doing open world now? Is open world the new North Star that's going to take us this way? And it's not. It's just one more tool that's going to allow us to offer different and dynamic experiences for players to go and engage in. Now, when I talk about instancing isn't always what you'd imagine as a solo instance experience where it's only just you. We're going to have several different versions of instances. Some are going to be closed instances, which will be like the new player experience. We'll be able for you to go in by yourself, for us to teach you the ropes in a safe environment so that you can understand how to play the complex game that we've made.
I'm so happy they did that, because when I first jumped into Star Citizen, I was confused out of my mind. That's why the title of my very first gameplay video was My First Time in Star Citizen, ... What do I do? I was so confused. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And I was pretty much, and the tutorial was barely any help. The tutorial only helped me to get from where I was laying down in a bunk all the way to the hangar. From there, I was on my own. It didn't really help me with the buttons. It didn't help me with at all, but a lot of people really enjoyed that video because they're like, hey man, I went through the same thing as you. I went through all this, and it was they said it was entertaining and fun. And I was like, okay, well, that's a relief that I didn't make a fool out of myself. But however, what really got me through it and got me on my feet was experienced players who are subscribers and Discord members decide to jump in with me and teach me the ropes and become my guide. That's why I learned and improved so much in like 2 videos. And I mean, I'm still learning and still trying to learn the ropes a bit, but I'm just saying like the difference between like learning from the tutorial and the difference in learning from like players who are experienced was massive. So I'm glad that now they're taking the time to like make a new way of like teaching new players, because if they're going to be confused as me, who knows what's going to happen. Because if they don't have like people around them that will teach them how to play Star Citizen, then they're going to be confused for a very long time and have a really difficult time just like going through at the beginning. So I'm really glad they took that into account.
But we'll also have open instances like a cantina or a bar where we might say, hey, we only want 50 people to come in here because we've got mission givers and we've got other NPCs for you to talk to, and you would just walk in and it would be seamless. You wouldn't know that there was an instance, it's not going to get a loading screen, you would just seamlessly walk into that location, it would be full of other players and NPCs.
It's pretty big.
And you can go and enjoy the content. And that's, I think, something that
that's a huge improvement.
Is going to provide us. It's going to give us a tool to offer different dynamic content, or curated content, as I'd say. It allows us to create experiences that are different to the open world experiences that we've already made. And it's not to say that we won't continue our open world development or only do instance content. It's going to be a mix. And like I said, this is one of the pillars that will move us towards 1.0. We will eventually work on dynamic content that will move us towards 1.0, and all 3 of those pillars will interweave to create the full Star Citizen experience.
All right, so we've hit a lot of the bigger topics, the feature work, engineering, and FPS crafting coming to tech preview soon, stuff like this. We've talked about instancing and how that's going to work within the universe. But I want to ask you this one last big one. It's very easy to say Star Citizen is this kind of game and that kind of game. Those of us who spend our days making it know better. It's an everything game. It's everything we can make it game. It just is. But at the core of this is still spaceships. That life of spaceships. What more can you tell us about spaceship gameplay in the future? What can you give us? What can you tee up for us to look forward to for those of us who are really into Star Citizen for the spaceships?
Our intentions going forward are to make sure that every ship or ship archetype that you acquire has a role and has content that you can go and enjoy in the universe. For example, right now I know that we're working on more robust mining missions, more robust salvage missions. We're going to be working on refueling missions. And we want to make sure that each and every one of the ship has a purpose and has a reason to exist in the game. That's from the smallest Argo MPUV, as well as ground vehicles, all the way up to the large capital ships. We want to give them purpose. And I think it's something that we are absolutely aware of. We want to make sure that we're building that spectrum of content to allow players to go and engage in. And I think 2026 is going to be a very good year for Star Citizen. And I think there's going to be something that's very interesting and something that a lot of people have been waiting for. But rather than me spoil it, I'll let Ian and the team go into the details on that.
He had a twinkle in his eye. Ian, take it away.
All right. That was really great to hear. A space for spaceships.
So the persistent universe has existed for over 10 years now. During that time, we've created lots of gameplay systems, we've added hundreds of locations, we've added lots of mission activities for different purposes: combat, cargo, mining, salvaging. But for combat ships, the only thing you've been able to do is fight other combat ships. In 2026, this changes. We're going to be delivering a spaceship-focused activity space which incentivizes the use of different gameplay roles. These are going to be scenarios where you're going to have to plan and strategize and create operational tactics to overcome your objective. So what you're going to see is very early. It's early in the pipeline process, and it's going to come online about mid next year. But we're really excited about the content we're creating, so we want to share with you a super early look at what we're building in a space we're calling Tactical Strike Groups.
Tactical Strike Groups? TSGs?
The People's Alliance are still trying to get to the bottom of what this new faction is really doing in the Nyx system.
They've sent a capital ship to check out a station and run into more than they can take care of themselves.
Unfortunately, that team
Man, listen to the
came under
music
attack
change.
and members of their groups were taken hostage. Now they've reached out to Intersec, who've reached out to you to help recover the pilot. Of course, it's unwise to do this alone, so you'll need to put a team together to attack the station.
Oh, the shark
When you
design.
arrive, you will have this big asteroid, kind of broken asteroid, and on this you will have this space where you will find 3 big arms. You will see at the middle, you will have this big energy core.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Here has a purpose. It's not just for the show, just something nice to see.
You'll see a People's Alliance-owned Idris that's just on the outside, and it's going to be getting harassed by this unknown faction that you have met before.
So your first objective here is to clear out the ships. There'll be waves of these ships, so this is where you want your light or your medium.
Dude,
or
there's
your
a
heavy
lot of
fighters,
ships.
Whichever playstyle you prefer.
So while one part of your group is dealing with the fighters, now it's time to actually assault the station.
This station has been outfitted to resist all of the obvious way of attacks.
Somehow they've incorporated Vanduul capital ship killing turrets. These turrets ignore small fighters, and they have the firepower to destroy even the biggest capital ships.
Your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. The idea of these is
That's
so we can
crazy.
sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship and win just because they have the biggest ship.
Oh, so trying to balance it out. Okay, that's smart.
You have to send out your best pilots to navigate the superstructure and take down anything that may damage your bigger ships.
So those turrets.
So at this point you're thinking, destroy the turrets. But it's not that easy. This turret has shields that you've never seen before. It won't take any kind of damage. Your missiles won't do anything, your lasers won't do anything, your ballistics won't do anything to them. But like everything, they do have a weakness. You have to cut the power to their shields. To do that, that actually brings you to your first objective, the power relays.
Okay. So very powerful
So the
shields.
exterior has a number of power relays that are holding the doors closed so that you can't get in.
You have to find them, you have to target them, and you have to destroy them. But it may not be as easy as it seems.
Here's our first wrinkle. The power relays have their own shields that are resistant to energy-based attacks.
Damn, everything's protected.
We know how much you like using laser repeaters, but so do these guys.
Capital ship can't get close enough because of the turrets.
So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance will be needed here. That's torpedo ships like your Retaliator or Gladiator, or even another fighter with ballistics loadout. That's going to take you a while.
Once the power relays
okay.
have been taken down, the station opens up.
And this is where things get really cool.
Now it's time for you to fly your ship inside the station.
Yeah, you, in your ship, fly into the superstructure of this station.
How cool is that?
I feel like this is a proud dad moment.
We're just going to call it what it is. It's a trench run.
Trench run. Oh, kind of like the Death Star.
So as you enter the structure, you'll see cooling units along the sides that you'll need to take out. There's 3 arms to the station that have these trenches. You'll fly into one, and then there'll be a core in the center, and then you'll leave out another trench.
You're either gonna do it multiple times, or you need to bring friends.
At At this point,
Okay.
the core is still protected, so these are essentially strafing runs.
There are objects to avoid. You're going to have to be able to dodge. You're going to have to move quickly. You need an agile ship.
And one that
It's
packs
the
a
shield
punch.
generator that you're targeting, emitting lots of distortion damage.
So once the cooling units are out, that exposes the core to overheat, which means that you can attack it from the inside and also from exhaust ports on the outside of the station.
Whoa, it's those bombers.
This core is armored and just takes a whole lot of damage.
I think it was the Eclipse.
Once the power core goes down, the turrets come down, and then the capital ships can get closer.
Nice.
Why is that important? Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're going to get our new feature in: ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're going to be able to land in the hangar of select ships and be able to use the same interface as you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course, it'll be more than just those two ships, and you'll find out more once we get closer to release. But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get
So
out.
better logistical support.
If you're not bringing your own Idris, the People's Alliance has an Idris there that can provide a safe port in a storm, allow you to set back up and head back out.
Nice.
And it's a good thing that you've rearmed and refueled too, because now another group of ships is coming to attack the People's Alliance Idris.
Round 2.
So while the fighters are protecting the Idris, what's happening at the station? Well, that's where the dropships come in.
Now you've got to take a fire team in. You've got to land, you've got to fight through an onslaught of FPS enemies that belong to this unknown faction, and you've got to open
got a mohawk.
hangar door which will allow you to release captives from the station. After you've opened the doors and that person's taken off, you've just got to make sure they get to safety.
Glad to see they're using the
So at this
Paladin.
point, all of this sounds pretty simple, but there's an additional complication.
So up until this point, it's just been you versus the enemies in the station. But the enemies in the station have their own enemies.
Whoa.
The Van Duel neighbors, who really don't like these guys for some reason, will come in and wreak havoc on everything.
And they're not going to discriminate between you and the station. They're out for blood.
So they'll just kill everyone. That's insane.
When you alert the Van Duel by destroying the power core that the station's now vulnerable, you're on a time limit. Van Duel are coming, they're going to come hard, they're going to keep coming. You're going to have one hell of a fight.
The guy's like, wait, hold on. That wasn't there. Oh, Vandal capital ship. Oh yeah, we definitely got to experience this.
Tactical strike groups. I'm personally so invested in this. So throughout 2025, we created a variety of content. Some of it was very focused on FPS combat. So personally,
That's great.
driving a more vehicle-based experience was very important to me. This is a defining statement that I want to do in 2026. We're a spaceship game. There are prized possessions. To the objects we fall in love with. This is the content we want to create, which creates scenarios and roles for you to use those spaceships. We won't get to all roles initially, but we should see this as a landmark, a position where we can see a gameplay space which incentivizes the use of different ships and scenarios to clear objectives and complete missions in a variety of roles. And in the future, we can use this to expand on. So I hope you're all just as excited as I am for tactical strike groups. They're gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really invested in that. Now for the outro.
Okay. Why do you still have the puppet? John, come home. All right, so tactical strike groups. You know, it's been a long road for the last 10 years. The PU's been around. We've done lots to build stuff for mining ships and for salvage ships. And as Rich said, we're currently building out even more for those. And our first refueling missions coming online in 2026. But combat missions. Oh, hi, Aaron Roberts. Aaron Roberts. But finally having enough of the foundation in place that we can begin to build real spaceship operations, in any other MMO they'd call dungeons. It's really exciting for me, and that's why we're ending the show this year with that. So yeah, that's been CitizenCon Direct. Thank you for taking the time to share this with us. Again, this is just a glimpse at some of what's coming in 2026. I've seen the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat like, oh, you're spoiling everything. I promise, we ain't. So before we let you go, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as with every CitizenCon, the last word shouldn't be mine. It should belong to our founders and CEO. So take it away, Chris Roberts.
I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into some of what the team is cooking for the near future. Of course, we're not going to spoil everything that's currently in progress, and many features we haven't discussed today are in active development, like base building, social, and trade tools that are very much a priority. These, along with bringing the final polished features from
Base
Squadron
building.
42 into the persistent universe, will make next year the most exciting yet for Star Citizen. Finally, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone at CIG for working so tirelessly and with so much passion to deliver something that is already special and will only get more so as we continue. And of course, to all of you for making all this possible with your support and feedback. We couldn't do this without all of you, something that I and the team appreciate every day. We are very lucky to be allowed the time and the money to build the game of all of our dreams, something that is only more apparent as the video game business becomes more monolithic. We are one of the few large independents left standing, and there is no way we would be allowed to dream as big as we are on an original game and take the time to achieve that dream if we were part or funded by any of the few remaining mega game companies. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all in the verse this coming year.
Oh, that was great. See you in the verse. So there you guys have it. 3 hours of CitizenCon Direct. I literally watched this whole thing in almost like 3.5 hours, because like I said, I took a break in between, but I enjoyed every single bit of it. So the very first half of CitizenCon Direct that I watched in the very first video that if you guys haven't seen was mostly based on the Nix system, but it looks like the second half that we just watched right now was more on a individual base, because we were talking about new ships, we were talking about new guns, we were talking about crafting, we were talking about Road to 1.0, and of course tactical strike groups. So what I really liked was they prioritized and like bringing in a new system and saying like this is kind of like the bridge between Stanton and Pyro. Like they're talking about the jump points and there's like new events, and they're like, this is not a one-time thing. This is something that could be repeated over and over again until you get it right, or you can do better, or you can get more loot. So that's what I really like. But either way, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to get back into the verse, and hope you guys are looking forward to it as well as much as I am. So besides that, that's all I got for today. I know these are really long videos, but hope you guys still enjoyed them. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you guys haven't already and want to be part of the Discord, Link is in the description below. Over there, we talk about video games, movie, TV shows. We just chat and hang out. So if you guys like to be a part of that, oh, we're lucky to have you. So besides that, I'll see you guys next time.